So welcome to episode 10, through to the finale of the Luke Cage, my spoiler-filled review. And it feels like this season, it started out weak, but it sort of got stronger and stronger. And this last, like, 1/3 of the show was very action-heavy, and I think that's a good thing, because brought in enough action, brought in enough, like, payoffs to setups that they had earlier on, that I think it made up for the fact that our main character is kind of a little bit dull, because he's always like, I don't want to be a hero, but I am being a hero, blah, blah, blah. It's good to have other interesting stuff going on around that, so great. So episode 10 starts, the scientist guy has just been able to dig the last bits of shrapnel out of Luke Cage, and they proceed to then tell the scientist he's a total jerk for all the bad stuff he's done to Luke Cage, which, I don't know if I agree with that, because, like, sure, he did some horrible things to Luke Cage and to others, but as you pointed out, they did volunteer, a lot of them, they did volunteer to go in on this experiment in order to get time off their sentence, so that's on them, really. And also, he's doing this because he's like, this advancement, it can cure cancer, it can heal a lot of diseases, it can double the lifespan, it can do all this great stuff, so, they were volunteering, and there was a greater good to what he was trying to do, so I think it's kind of mean to say that he's such an asshole. He wasn't really. I think he was kind of a good guy. He helped out Luke. He didn't have to. He could have turned him in. He didn't. And also kind of made Luke Cage look like a little bit of a selfish prick, where he's like, you'll never do this to anyone ever again. And it's like, well, how come you should be the only one that have the advantages of this? What about all the good medical stuff it can do to help people? Like, you can't just dismiss all that. Sure, there's danger, but there's so much good that can come from it too. Like, don't be a selfish jerk. But anyway, I'm overthinking it. But, I had to laugh when later in the episode, Diamondback, when talking to the new lady crime boss with the Judas bullet, she says something like, why didn't it kill him? And he goes, you don't need to kill God with one shot. You just need to make him bleed. Straight out of Zack Snyder's playbook of like, you're not a god. You were never even a man. Tell me, do you bleed? It's almost exactly Zack Snyder-ish. So I had a bit of recoil at that just because of the reference. But I was really surprised that this episode then, after Diamondback puts on his sort of power suit and goes out and punches a cop in the chest, pretending to be Luke Cage, and the politician crime boss lady now goes into full Black Lives Matter mode. And it's obviously a commentary on all of that. And I gotta say, it's very brave of them to go there, because they're portraying Black Lives Matter as the bad guys, which if you watch the media, almost never happens, the mainstream media. Never happens. They never criticize Black Lives Matter in any way. So it was very, very brave that they portrayed the villains being behind this never let this happen again, or whatever their chant was. I was surprised by that, but it fit into the context of the story. This episode then led into episode 11 with the whole hostage crisis with Diamondback and all that, and Diamondback telling his story to this politician guy. I really enjoyed hearing his backstory and the whole thing of like why he quotes scripture all the time, because at first when he was constantly with the Bible quotes, I was like, oh yeah, that's just kind of a cliche. The villain always quotes the Bible, but they explained that no, it's because his dad was a priest who had an affair with someone else, so that Bible was kind of the only thing he had left. That was his dad's Bible, the only thing he had left of his dad. He was reading it, kind of trying to understand how someone could, preach all these values and then do the exact opposite, so no wonder he studied it so much. I like that. That's really good. It really sort of fleshed out Diamondback a lot, and yeah, I really like Diamondback, because he's scary. He's like the Black Joker, like that. But also, it's like, when you understand where he comes from, you now sort of like, I'll save it for when we get to that episode, but you sort of want to see him get redeemed. I would have liked that. So the episode ends, it all goes bad, everybody gets away, except Luke Cage. He lets himself be arrested, and then he busts out on the way to the police station, leading into episode 12, where we've got Shades is now in the custody of the police. And there was a scene where the cop's trying to get him to talk, and Shades is just saying, lawyer, 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 over and over. And then he does that thing where he like pretends like he's going to talk, and then he's like, lawyer. Good job, Shades. Sick burn, mate. But that was actually, I wonder if that was actually a reference to, it was either Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. There's a character in that. I think it was Better Call Saul, actually, where the character is brought in and the cops are trying to get him to talk, and that's all he'll say. He's just lawyer, lawyer, lawyer. So I wonder if maybe the writers of that show and this show, maybe they're the same, or maybe they like know each other. Might have been like an in-joke between like these, you know, different TV show writers. So that was interesting. Also, Diamondback in this, I had a bit of a chuckle because he mentions that there's only 2 books he reads. One is the Bible and the other is the 48 Laws of Power. Couldn't help but laugh because I have the 48 Laws of Power on my phone as an audiobook. And it's fantastic. It's actually a really good book. It's actually, the audio version is here on YouTube. You can find it if you want. In fact, click on the card in the top right corner. I'll link you to the audio files here on YouTube so you can listen to him. Fantastic book. Really good. It will change the way you look at the world. Really awesome. But this is also the episode where Luke Cage, with the scene that we saw in the trailer where he stops that robbery and he's like, hey, it's you. And then he goes, nah, it's you, man. Only watching this episode did I realize that guy, he says, hey, it's you, man. He must be like a radio dude in real life in Harlem. I don't know. I didn't know. I don't know what show it is. I don't live in Harlem, obviously. But at the point where that guy goes back to his radio show and starts doing a rap about how cool Luke Cage is, that was a little bit cringy, but whatever. I guess it worked. And yeah, these last 2 episodes is where it really picked up. We sort of see that Shades and the new lady crime boss, a little bit of chemistry going on there. It's interesting because are they going to get together? I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, he did call her a sexy, domineering bitch. I mean, he threw sexy in there, so he obviously kind of likes her. But then in the next episode, they almost kiss, but they don't. Or like she tries to kiss him, but he doesn't. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's sort of like they set up for them to be together, but then they kind of didn't by the end. But hey, I mean, with the pattern of this Netflix, they're probably going to answer that. It'll just be a few episodes later down into next season. But without a doubt, the best line of the whole series, where Diamondback comes through the door of the barbershop in his full power suit kind of gear, and that guy goes, man, you look like a pimp stormtrooper. Pimp Stormtrooper. Easily the best line of the whole show. Even more so than Sweet Christmas. And the showdown, the fight between the two of them was fantastic. And like I said in the last video on this, now that I know sort of like Diamondback's background, you know, Luke Cage was like trying to sort of redeem him. And I do want to see him get redeemed. You know, I feel like maybe Luke Cage could get through to him. Maybe. I mean, there's just probably not because he's kind of jokerish, but maybe there's a chance. Maybe. And thankfully he didn't die. They didn't kill him like they did with Kilgrave, so we can see him again, which would be great. I hope we do see him again. But maybe I missed it in the show, like his whole power suit, where did that come from? It just came out of nowhere. Was it just in the truck? Just showed up in the truck from the hammer tech or whatever? Was that where it came from? It's kind of weird. It just appeared out of nowhere. But after this, winding up the show, Luke Cage, he saved the day. He's taken out all the bad guys. Most of them. Obviously not the new crime couple. And the US Marshals come and they're like, hey, you still owe us time. He's like, I can prove my innocence. And they're like, well, until you do, you still need to go back to jail. And the nurse says, you need an attorney. I know a really good one. She's talking about Daredevil, obviously. She said that a couple times, and I was like, oh, please let Daredevil walk in the door. Please. Have to be the last shot. Him sitting in his prison cell, and they're like, Cage, you got a visitor. And it's Daredevil, you know, walks in or something. Please let that happen. No, they don't do it. They just tease us the whole time. Come on. But the final line from Luke Cage is, as Pop said, I just can't sit in the gutter no more. I gotta step up. And it's like, yeah, Luke Cage, good you eventually got there. Probably should have at the beginning of the show. Would have made for a much more interesting show rather than seeing you flail around all the time, but whatever, we're here now. I know it sounds like I'm being way too critical of this show, but look, it did redeem itself in the end for me, and I will watch season 2 if it comes out. And sadly, there was not an end credit scene that was a teaser for Iron Fist, but I think there was a little bit of a nod to him. You see the nurse chick takes the self-defense martial arts ticket. She like rips one of the things off the ad on the lamppost. Is that a reference to him? Because he's sort of martial arts master? Could be. I don't know. But the final thing was kind of hinting that maybe that scientist that Luke Cage said was a total jerk is now going to give superpowers to Diamondback. I can't think of anything more terrifying than someone like Diamondback with Luke Cage's powers. So yeah, maybe that scientist was a jerk all along, but still, Luke Cage, if you had worked with that scientist, he wouldn't need to be doing this. So. But really, why would you pick Diamondback? I don't know. But yeah, look, those last few episodes just brought it home for me, and it leaves me happy with the season overall. I am happy with it. So sorry guys if I triggered you over some of my criticisms of the show. show, but hey, it's a review. I gotta say good and bad, not just good. And there was still enough good stuff in this. So overall, if I were to rate the whole season, like from beginning to end, I'd give it probably a 7 out of 10. But at the same time, if I wasn't watching it to review it to do these videos, I might not have made it past episode 5. I might not have made it. So who can say really? So I am Bandit, this is Bandit Incorporated. Until next time, I will see you guys in the comments.